G'day, I'm Paul. One of the most watched videos on our channel is of the Kia Carnival. Who would have thought? Well, guess what? There is a facelift. Gee, it looks good, doesn't it? So they have facelifted this in a similar way to the Sorento, and I don't know, I just reckon Kia's designs just look really cool. They're sort of edgy, but not over the top, new, not sort of too science project or anything like that. So I think they've done a really good job with this and sort of made it look kind of cool for a people mover, which you don't normally associate with being cool. So this competes with things like the Hyundai Staria, the Toyota Grand Via, talking about stuff like the LDV Mifa as well. It has grown in price though, so the top spec is now called the GT line instead of the Platinum. The price has jumped by over $5,000, so you're now paying just over 70 grand for the petrol V6 GT line, which is what we're testing here. So big step up. If that is too expensive though, the entire range kicks off at around $50,000. Today we're going to do a detailed review of this car, so if you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this review, you can use the time codes that are on the screen, or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon. And by the way, are you in the market for a new car? If so, have you heard of Help Me Car Expert? All you need to do is go to Google, type in Help Me Car Expert, or scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you to the CarExpert website. It's not just me or Sean doing the video stuff. We're like a big company, 60 full-time employees, and on our website you're going to find news, reviews, and also our car chooser tool. If you're unsure which car you want, all you do is enter in all of your requirements. It'll spit out a stack of options. You can read the reviews, watch the videos, and then we can even put you in touch with one of our friendly dealers. Now let's talk exterior design. Your optional colors are just under $700, so not outrageous. Actually looks pretty good here in white as well. Normally white is your sort of rental car spec color, but this actually doesn't look too bad. So LED light that stretches along the top there, and down here full LED headlights as well. Multi-beam setup for the top spec version. You have these sort of chromey type, I don't even know what the design's called, but that down the front here. And then you've got that brushed aluminium look down the bottom there as well. That new Kia logo on the front there. So it is a pretty impressive looking setup, I reckon. Now around the side here, you're sitting on 19-inch alloy wheels. Look at that, very nice and fancy. Now this has a local ride and handling tune, so hopefully that means that this actually rides well. Decent profile on those tyres as well. Piano black on the inside there, and then a machined finish as well. 360 camera, you've got privacy glass. Now the fascinating thing with this as well, as we discovered when we reviewed it the first time around, you've actually got a spare tyre under here. So the location of these spare tyres is interesting because you want to preserve boot space. This is going to be available in a hybrid as well from around June. So they really have sort of tried to package everything in as well as they can. So on the outside, it looks like a people mover, but it's like an origami thing on the inside. You've got this panel over here, which I really like, just gives it bit of a cooler look. It isn't just a people mover, it actually looks interesting. So you've got roof rails up the top there. I even like that roof rail design as well, how it has that hangover on the edge there. It just makes it look like it's shooting through on the road. Come around the back, this is also changed as well. LED game, very strong, so that stretches almost all the way along, and then you have the vertical slats here with a full LED tail light. They've just really been able to update the design here without going over the top, but it looks different enough to the previous version. Little camera up the top there for the rear view camera. I'll show you what that looks like soon. Kia logo here, Carnival down the bottom there, and similar to what we've seen in other Kia models as well, they don't really add any extra badges here to signify the model, so people don't really know which spec you're driving. And then some of that brushed aluminium down the bottom there as well. So let me know in the comments section below. It is a big step up in price, but it is, I reckon, the best people mover in this segment. It is just such a good package. Let me know in the comments section below, is it too expensive now? And are you sick of waiting? Because I know a lot of people have been waiting ages for this. Hopefully it means if you were still on the waiting list, you're going to get the facelifted version of this as opposed to the not facelift. So let me know in the comments section below. So we are inside the Carnival. We will start off with the key. Look at this, very fancy new key. So Kia up the top there, you've got lock, unlock, boot, and then you have remote parking here, remote doors, remote start. It's got everything, and then this sort of lights up when you push that as well, which is kind of cool. So very nice. It's a proximity sensing key, so you can just push that button once you're inside, and then away you go. Now, what about this interior? What does it look like? Look, I think it actually looked good when it was launched. It still looks pretty decent now. There is a lot of piano black around the place, so around the centre here and up the top there. Also on the doors, which I think sort of brings the value down a little bit, but they have updated all of this stuff now with the latest infotainment system, and it is sort of high-end and high-tech as well, especially when you look at some of the competitors in the segment. Not a lot of them have this type of technology as standard, so, and you'd expect it for this kind of price, right? So what about your touch points? So that is sort of firm there and softish on the side. How soft are they? We've got our durometer. We've tested the main surfaces in this cabin. If you want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, have a look at the link in the description below. Now, build quality. Tiny bit wonky there, but the rest of that feels okay. This is what the door sounds like. Now let's talk infotainment. This is exciting because it is the latest version of Kia's infotainment system. Two 12.3-inch displays, similar to what you've seen in the EV9, with the exception being that EV9 has climate controls here in the centre. They've kept this lower section for climate controls in Carnival, and this is the type that we saw in Sportage, I think, recently, where you basically switch between map and climate controls on the same screen. So easy to use setup, but just worth keeping in mind that it's not quite the same as what they're using in some of their latest products. So in here you have inbuilt satellite navigation, which is good. It means you don't have to pair your phone if you don't necessarily want to. You've got a shortcut menu from the top there, if it works. Shortcut menu that allows you to access some of the critical functions, such as passenger talk. So you press that and my voice is echoed to the back. I'll stop that now. So it's a fun feature. You've got weather here because this is internet connected, and it means that you are able to pair your phone with the car and access it remotely as well. Voice memo in case you get any cracking ideas out on the road, and then the rest is sort of pretty straightforward stuff. In terms of sound system, you have a 12-speaker Bose branded sound system, very nice, and wireless smartphone mirroring with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So that's Apple CarPlay, big screen, nice and easy to use, and this is Android Auto, full screen there as well. Let's have a look. Yeah, nice and quick and easy to use. So you got a screen ahead of the driver as well. Not a huge amount of customization you can do here, but gives you all your critical functions, and then it changes a little bit depending on which drive mode you're in as well. Now let's talk safety. So you have front and rear autonomous emergency braking. You've got an auto dimming rear vision mirror, but you also have this digital rear view mirror as well that lets you see out the back there if you have a cabin full of passengers, which is great. You've got blind spot monitoring built into the wing mirrors. You've got a camera that comes up when you change lanes, which is just such a good feature. You have also front and rear cross traffic alert. You have lane departure warning with a lane centering assistant. Also has highway driving assist, where it can basically give you slightly more confidence on registered highways. It's able to change lanes and do a few more extra functions that it can't just do on normal roads, which is not too bad. You've got front and rear parking sensors and a 360 camera. I'll show you what that looks like. So there it is there. Quality is, yeah, it's not too bad. Look at that. You can actually see clearly what's written on the suitcase there. You've got a 360 view as well, so you can whip around the car there. What else have we got? Oh, yeah, look at that. You've got stacks of different views there. So yeah, plenty to pick from, so that's cool. And this is what the horn sounds like. Now let's talk practicality, and we'll start off with your connectivity. So you've got two USB-C ports down here. You've got this clever functionality as well, lets you switch between charging and smartphone mirroring. You've got a 12-volt outlet hidden behind this little trapdoor just there. You've got a wireless phone charger down here as well. In terms of bottle storage, you've got decent sort of slot there for a bottle. You've got storage inside the doors as well. Not a huge amount though. It only sort of just fits that tiny little bottle. So it's a bit surprising they don't offer more storage inside the door there. You do have this giant center console, which is good to see. A little bit of storage there as well. You've got a glove box down here, which is reasonably sized, and also this storage nook down here as well for little odds and ends. So they've given you a fair bit of storage here to work with. On your comfort front, you've got dual zone automatic climate control, heated and cooled seats for the front row, heated steering wheel, electric seat adjustment for the driver, so you can go forwards or backwards. Your backrest can go forwards and backwards. You can lift the front of the seat, back of the seat. You have lumbar adjustment. You've got seat memory, Passenger side is electrically adjustable as well. Steering offers both tilts and reach adjustment, and on our reach test, stuff is just a little bit harder to reach on that outer edge. Okay, so second row. Let me shut my powered door. I'm curious, do you own a Carnival or other people mover? Do kids break those things? They must be durable, because I can just imagine kids playing with that all the time. But anyway, okay, so what's the room like? I've got loads of knee room there. Toe room's great. I do feel like my feet are sitting high up here, but it's not too bad. Seat's fairly comfy. Seat can be moved as well, so you can go forwards and backwards to give your third row passengers more room, and we'll test that out in just a second. Cup holders over here, you've got a 12 volt outlet, a little storage nook down here, 2 USB-C outlets in the back of the seats, storage there for hooking things on. You have mat pockets there, heated seats for your 2 outboard seats. You have privacy blinds, so you can get rid of those if you need to. There's even a window here. That is an enormous window, and that sort of almost goes all the way down. Pop that back up. You've also got a third zone of climate control here. You've got blower controls and temperature controls, air vents in the roof there as well. And it is worth pointing out here with this seat, it actually not only folds down to give you cup holders, this can come out entirely. So what you could basically do is just get this out of the car, leave it in the garage, and then you have a pass through the center of the cabin to get into the rear. So this is what it looked like the last time we tested the Carnival, just so you can get a bit of an idea of what that all feels like. So great place to be seated, lots of versatility here. Let's jump into the third row and see what it's like for adults back there. So third row, oh, by the way, forgot to mention, look at this, you've got armrests here as well on the side. So you can access the third row either through the center there if you've removed the seat, or alternatively, this slides forward and then you can just go on and climb in. So let's have a little look-see here, see what this is like. I'll move that all the way back. I'll lift this up as well, so I'm not digging into my back. Yeah, look, it is a little bit cramped here, a tiny bit, but you could easily move this seat forward and you would have a whole lot more room. Actually, feel pretty comfortable back here. So headroom's not great. Toe room's pretty good though. So you've got air vents up here. You've got USB-C charging off to the sides, cup holders as well, and then you've got a center seat too. So you could, in theory, have 8 people in here. So 2 at the front, 3 here, 3 here as well. So yeah, look, it is pretty impressive how they've been able to package so much into here. So let's have a look at the boot. I'm curious to see how much space there is back there, because so far this is actually pretty impressive. Now, cargo space. You've got auto walk up on both this and the side doors as well. So it means that you can walk up with the key and configure it so that it just opens for you, which I think is a handy feature. And it can also auto close as well when you walk away. So a lot of clever stuff there. Now, cargo space. Have a look at this. Look how deep that is. That is Tesla-esque. And the reason it is so good is because they've been able to move that spare tyre, they've been able to move the fuel tank, and really just made this platform all about storage. So just over 600 litres available here behind the third row alone. If you do want more space though, by removing your third row, so pop that in there, one swift motion, and that opens up over 2,000 litres of space. Have a look at that. It is absolutely incredible. Okay, so we have just hit the road in the Kia Carnival. Now, one of the downsides to this update is that it's picked up all of the safety nannies that frustrate the absolute heck out of us in other Kia and Hyundai products. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is switch all that stuff off, because it just gets really annoying. So that is the speed limit warning, because for some reason it can't really pick that up, and then also the lane departure stuff, just because on the track here we have to cross the line. So it's not as annoying as some of the vehicles that have been released to date, but it is pretty annoying. Okay, so Carnival. This is available with 2 engines. So 3.5 litre petrol V6, which is the one that's fitted to this vehicle, a diesel turbocharged 4-cylinder, but there is also a hybrid coming. And the hybrid will be interesting because the petrol V6 can be a bit thirsty, and the diesel 4-cylinder can lack a little bit of punch at times. So this is where I think the hybrid is going to fill that gap nicely. It'll be fuel efficient and also have punch. What we're driving here, the 3.5 litre naturally aspirated petrol V6, it makes 216 kilowatts of power and around 350 newton meters of torque. This is unchanged from the pre-facelift Carnival. It's just made it to the same 8-speed automatic transmission. What does that feel like behind the wheel? Well, let's give this a little kick. It's what I love about this engine. It sounds so good and it just gives you a nice little belt in the back. It's not earth-shattering, but if you do need to pick up and go, you just drop the hammer and away it goes. It is just a really nice, smooth engine. So it's actually kind of my pick over the diesel. The diesel is quite efficient, but I do love the fact that you can have a crack in this and have some fun in it. Let's talk about just some of the changes here. So you'll remember with our first review of the Carnival, it had the analog gauges ahead of the driver, and they were talking about how, you know, it'll get updated with the screen and all that sort of stuff. That never happened. So now with the facelift, they've introduced all this stuff. So you're getting all that extra technology. You've got a nice head-up display there as well that gives you an idea of speed and also line markings and stuff like that. Let's talk fuel economy. So Kia claims 9.6 litres per 100 Ks. We are currently sitting on, I'm gonna look around my GoPro there, 11.2. So a little bit off that figure, but that is kind of the thirstness level you're going to be at when it comes to a petrol V6 in a vehicle this size. It weighs over 2 tons. Now, sine wave. We didn't get a chance to test the last Carnival at the proving ground here, so we don't know what body control's like. It does have ride and handling tune that was derived here in Australia. Let's see how well it performs across our sine waves at 130. Okay, here we go. Yeah, look, it's not terrible. So it could be much worse. Basically, it's on the softer side, and it needs to be on the softer side given it is a family vehicle, but they haven't softened it out completely, which means it's not nauseating. It's just nice and controlled and comfortable when it does reach those upper limits. Now, bumpy road times. So we do this road at 90 k's an hour. It is shocker of a road. It is like the worst road in Australia. It just gives us a good idea of what the ride is like. So let's get a little feel of this. It's actually pretty surprisingly comfortable. Okay, we've got our condensed sine wave coming up here as well. This is high frequency bumps. Nice and controlled over that as well. So yeah, it is comfy. So the softness they've engineered into it works in its favor because it doesn't actually throw you around too much. So it is actually not a bad setup. Okay, let's go for a bit of a faster drive. I'm going to pop this into sport mode, go for a fang around the track. Now, obviously you're not going to be driving like this if this is just your family car, but we test all our cars back to back in the same way to see what they're like closer to the limits. It's front-wheel drive. In fact, the whole range is front-wheel drive, and it needs to be for them to be able to get all of that equipment in the rear and all the seats. It's actually getting along quite nicely. Keen to see what it's like here with our mid-corner bump. Yeah, look, you do notice that softness when you are going a little bit faster, but to be honest, we're probably going a whole lot quicker than anybody else is going to be going in this car if they drive it as a family vehicle. So yeah, look, I'm actually pretty impressed with it. It's a bit of fun to drive. On the road noise front, this is not bad, but not amazing. So coarse chip roads, you get a bit of tyre noise coming into the cabin. We did test it up against our calibrated sound meter, and you can see how that went with the results up on the screen. If you do want to compare this to other cars that we've tested before, we've got a link in the description below and you can see that whole table of data. Now on the visibility front, I can see clearly down the front there. The wing mirrors are nice and big. Love these cameras that come up when I indicate. That's all really cool. If I look behind me, I've got my digital rear view mirror there as well, so I can see clearly out of that. It is just a very easy vehicle to drive despite its size. Now, what about your turning circle? So it's a little under 12 meters in size. So it's not enormous, but being front wheel drive, it means that you can actually get a decent turning radius without too many dramas. And then when it comes to towing, you've got a 2,000 kilo brake towing capacity. And look, kind of in two minds about towing with this. 2,000 kilos isn't an enormous amount, and to be honest, you wouldn't want to be towing a great deal more than that with a front-wheel drive vehicle regardless. So there's something worth keeping in mind, but max downboard weight of 200 kilos means you're kind of limited in terms of what you could tow anyway, but it could be fine for like a small caravan or something like that. I would just be watching your payloads when it comes to GVM, especially if you are loading up with a family as well. I did notice when we did, basically with all the testing that we do here before I do the filming stuff, I'll do 3 fast laps of the ride and handling track. I did notice that this started to get some brake fade, and typically even the sort of lower end of cars that aren't expected to be performance vehicles don't get that brake fade. So if you are doing towing, that is something to keep in mind. If you've got a load on the rear plus people in the vehicle as well, you really want to be exercising the engine braking as much as you can. Okay, so it is time to test our semi-autonomous systems. This actually has 2 levels of semi-autonomous driving. The GT line, this particular one, has the level 2 version, which means on a freeway, and it has to be on a freeway that it recognises, it'll allow you to change lanes just by using the indicator, and then it sorts a lane change for you. So I've tested it before, it tends to work pretty well, but let's try this now and see how well this works. Okay, so flick this on, put our lane system on as well, and we'll set cruise at 70 k's an hour. Okay, there it is there, and we'll see how well it keeps us in the lane on the 3 outer lanes. So first lane is not too bad. Tiny bit closer to that left line, but that's okay. All right, jump over here to the next one. Okay. Sort of started over there, it's pulled us back into the center now. That's working pretty well. Happy with that. All right, last one. Let's give this outer lane a crack. See how well this works. Okay, wait for that steering wheel to go green. Yeah, see it's sort of going in and out from green. There it is. Okay, let's slowly let go of that wheel. It's actually not doing a bad job. So it's holding us up in this outer lane. It is pretty close to that line there, which tells me that it's not overly keen to apply heaps of steering wheel torque, but overall it's actually not a bad system that you can use to support you while you're driving. Okay, time to do a little bit of performance testing. We don't have an official 0 to 100 time, so we'll just see how it goes. I'll turn traction control off as well. We'll go all the way through to 120 so we can see our overtaking speed as well. So there it is there. Okay, here we go. Tiny bit of wheel slip off the line there, but it's actually pulling really strongly. There's 90, 100 and 120. Okay, we'll come to a stop. Just have a look at what that looked like. Okay, so 0 to 100 took 8.42 seconds, which is actually not too bad for a people mover, and 80 to 120, 5.57 seconds. So that's also not too bad as well when you consider that if you're going to be overtaking, you need to have that mid-range punch. So that's actually not too bad. So let's head back now and we'll do a stop from 100 k's an hour just to see how well the brake and tyre package holds up as well. Okay, here we go. Dial up 100 k's an hour. Stand on the anchors. Love that noise. Okay, here we go. Felt okay. Sort of lingered a little bit at the end there, but let's have a look. That's actually really impressive. So 2.84 seconds at 38.67 meters. So that is a really sharp stopping time. Quite impressed with that. And if you do want to see how this compares to other vehicles we've tested before, have a look at the link in the description below. Now, how quick does it go in reverse? Let's find out. So, that is 77 kilometers an hour. So the Kia Carnival, look, this builds on what I was already impressed with as a people mover. You don't expect people movers to look good and kind of be fun to drive as well. This kind of does all of that. It's got all of the bells and whistles inside the cabin. The updated design looks great. I just think it is really hard to fault. It has stepped up in price, about 10% more expensive than it was previously. So it is a big step up in price, but you can buy one of these. You've got a 7-year warranty. It'll probably stand the test of time with everything the kids can throw at it. So it is a pretty good package. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Are you impressed with this? Are you going to wait for the hybrid or go with the V6 petrol? And what do you use your Carnival for? Are you using it just because you've got a litany of kids, or use it to move other stuff around? I'm keen for your feedback. Let me know down there. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. But until next time, take it easy.